Student asked earlier today for some help in a learning moment on putting together a nice, effective dashboard. Now, of course, we know what a dashboard is. Really, it's a way to, on your landing page, usually to, give a nice visual overview of key information about the data in your actual application, maybe with some metrics. It can be just text information. That can work, right? With links where you can burrow down deeper into different elements themselves. But, in the visual elements of the page, often things like charts and graphs and things and tables can be a very effective way to communicate that key information that you typically want on your dashboard, right? Okay, so that brings up the idea of creating charts. And I mentioned to them right away, to have a look at this, I'm going to share it with everybody. Chart.js, fabulous open source tool, totally open source. You can add all kinds of charts to your views, right? And it works very, very well with just about anything on the web, but it works very well as well with our ASP.NET, with our MVC, MCV. I'll have to fix that, but I'm not going to take time right now. So I have the link here, right? You can come here and see there's all kinds of documentation. There's samples and getting started, help, and so on and so forth, right? So there's much you can do, but I'm just going to go through a quick little demo, okay, of getting a very, very basic example up and running. Now, it's going to be bare bones and not very pretty either, to be honest with you, but that's where you can take this information and run with it and make things much more visually appealing and effective than I have time to do for this real quick demo, right? Okay, so I have this file open myself. You can open it yourself and have a look, but basically I'm going to come to an example of our medical office. Yes, I know you're sick and tired of the medical office, but nonetheless, I'm going to use it one last time here. Okay, so I'm going to come to my patient controller. Oh, I already have it open here, and I've got everything shrunk down. So I'm just going to come down here before all the private actions. I'm just going to come here and going to add a public one, an iAction result that will actually return a view, right? I'm going to call it appointment reason. That's something I thought of, there's not too many things that are kind of worth charting that I have. But, I do have this data about how many appointments people have come for and the different reasons they've come and so on. So I thought this might be a reasonable example to do, right? So basic LINQ query here, right? Going to appointments, including the appointment reason. Just doing a simple group by in LINQ here, grouping by the reason name. And notice this, I'm even just using an anonymous type, right? Just a new type here where I'm getting the reason from the reason name and the count of the group, okay, grouping by that for the number of records, right? For each of these name value pairs here, basically, the name being the name of the reason, the value being the number in the count, right? So we just do a to-list async. And once I have that data, I'm going to take it, I'm just going to serialize it as JSON, right, in JSON format. And we'll have a look in a few minutes at what that actually looks like as well. Once I have that, I just throw that like we typically do, right, in an MVC application. Unless it's the model itself, we throw it into ViewData or the view bag, right, and then we return view. So we'll set a breakpoint here so we can have a look at that when we come down to it. But in the meantime, I'm going to right-click. We're going to add a view to go along with it. Just be a simple, basic view. I'm not going to do any model or anything for it. I'll just click Add. Now you can get, pretty fancy about how you arrange things on your dashboard and, use obviously our grid system, columns and rows, maybe throw on some cards and things like that. But eventually, in order to display one of these charts, what we're going to need basically is a canvas, right? So I'm just going to have the simplest little canvas you can imagine here. It can just fill the page as far as I'm concerned. And that's it. There we go. That's the HTML for the page. The rest I'm going to do in the actual script section itself with JavaScript. So notice the first line here, let's just go to the CDN and get the Chart.js stuff that we actually need to do the actual work. Then I'll have my own little JavaScript here, right? Once the document is ready, we'll just go in. We're going to define the configuration for the chart itself. It's going to be a bar chart. And here, data is set up. Now, there's different approaches you can do. You can provide data in a number of ways. This is an object, okay, a data object, okay, a data set here the data will come from, hey, there it is, our view data, right? So remember, this is already formatted for us, serialized as JSON. That's why we're using HTML raw, because I don't want to mess with it, right? I don't want to have it say, ooh, I don't like the look of that, and then make any changes to it. No, we want it raw just as it's coming from the actual view data itself, right? Now, you can, as I said, go through the documentation. You can really pretty this up, make it look all kinds of fancy, add more animations and so on and so forth to it, right? But basically, I've got some simple options here. I'm not even going to bother showing a legend, okay? I'm going to have a title up top, okay? Number of appointments by reason, and that's about it. Now, the only option I have here is for the parsing. Basically, a chart, line chart, a bar chart, most of them work with an X and a Y axis, right? It actually expects your data values to be named X and Y, right? So that's what this parsing is about. We're saying, okay, reason, okay, that is going to be what is on the X axis, and the number, okay, basically in this case, the count of how many appointments for this reason is going to be on the Y axis, right? That's the only reason we have to add this. And once this is all ready, we just actually make a new chart and put it into the div that we defined up here for our canvas, my chart. And that's basically all there is to it, right? We just need a button now to actually get it in place, okay? But of course, remember, I did set a breakpoint here, so we will stop. And of course, it added it automatically, but if it didn't, you just have to make sure you add Newtonsoft itself, right? Okay, now I need a button to call this. I think I'll just throw that right on the patient index here. That's why I already had it open. I'm just going to stick a button here. I'll float it to the end of the line, and it'll just basically call. Okay, it'll call our action in our patient controller, the appointment reason chart action. Okay, I'm just floating it to the end. This is just so that I can display chart report, or on a narrow screen, it'll just say report, right? There we go. Let's give it a try. Drum roll. And, oh, we opened on the other screen, but I can bring it over. We'll just log in. Should remember my login. There we go. I'm all good. Okay, so coming to patient, here we are. So here's my chart report. I'll click the button. We should hit our breakpoint, right? So we do have our data here, okay? There's our count. We have our reasons, our numbers, and so on in this anonymous type, okay? And that's what we're passing in here, exactly what I just saw. But you see now the data, look at that. If I click this little magnifier, the text visualizer, I can see it more clearly. So this is a nice JSON serialized payload of the same information. Reason, accident, number, and so on and so forth. All these name value pairs are put together in JSON. Good. I just wanted to show you what it actually looks like, okay? I'll just carry on now and we'll return view. And there we are. There's my nice simple chart, and I can hover over here. I can see there's the value. This is accident, annual checkup. There were 69 and so on. And this is only the beginning. We've only scratching the barest minimum surface of what you can do with this nice Chart.js tool. So you can, use different colors for each one. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can do line charts and all kinds of charts, pie charts, and everything else, right? So there's no end to what you can do with this tool, but I just want to show you. Basically, it's usually just a matter of deciding what data you need for the kind of chart you want and making sure you provide it in ViewData and just get it in place. Simple as that. So hopefully you can take this and run with it, have some fun, and away you go. All right. See you later.